you from Nashville, Tennessee. This is Parareality. Good evening, everybody. My name's Sandman. It is Tuesday, July the 5th, 2011. I'm going to be your host for the next half hour or so, and happy belated 4th of July to everybody out there. And welcome also to the second season of Parareality. Tonight, we are going to be getting into the science of the paranormal. We're going to talk about some of the equipment that's being used, as well as some of the quote-unquote scientific methods that are currently the most popular in today's world of paranormal investigation. So while we don't have a whole lot of time to get into everything, we will be talking about what I consider anyway to be the most prevalent ones that are used these days. Before we get into that, let me tell you a little bit about how you're going to be able to get in contact with me from now on, because there's been a few changes since last season as far as the way that you can reach me. I know I said on my Facebook page, actually I did a poll on my Facebook page, and I asked whether or not I should have a website, and the majority of everybody that participated in the poll said that they thought that Facebook was the most appropriate for what I was doing, and that I did not need a web page. And I kind of tended to agree with everybody at that point in time. However, after talking to a few people, I realized that the show needed a little bit more air of legitimacy. So it was decided that a website would be the quickest and easiest way to quote-unquote legitimize the show. So what I did was I went ahead and I revised the old website Parareality, which was from the days of the radio program. So as of about a month ago, Parareality.com was back up on the internet. Now there's been some changes. If you remember from the days of the radio show, it was basically I had a lot of pages, had a lot of graphics. Obviously it was relating to the radio program. I had some other stuff that some fans had sent in. However, I have revamped the website, so it's a little bit smaller. There's not as much stuff coming at you as what there used to be. So I welcome you to go to the all-new Parareality.com, and the website address is flashing up here below me on the screen. And with the reemergence of Parareality.com also comes a new email address. I've been using the prradio@50g.com email address, and while that is still going to be a way that you can get in touch with me, the new email address will be sandman@parareality.com. Once again, that's flashing up below me here on the screen. So that's how you can reach me via email these days, while I still will keep the prradio@50g.com email address and keep that valid. I would prefer to have all my correspondence go to sandman@parareality.com, because that's going to be the main way that I'm going to interact with anyone that wants to get in touch with me. Questions, comments, whatever, sandman@parareality.com. The studio line is still in effect. It's still the same. Nothing's changed there. It is area code 615-692-1170. Once again, that number is 615-692-1170. That's how you can get in touch with me via the phone. If you want to call and leave a comment, if you have a question, whatever. The studio line is always there. If I don't answer, just feel free to leave a message. And if you want me to return your phone call, please let me know, and I will return your phone call. A few things that you're going to see that's new, hopefully new, to this season of Parareality is obviously the set here. I experimented with this like one time last season, and I think I'm going to keep that, or keep this set at least for the time being. Not a lot of hullabaloo to the set. It's just kind of a very plain set, but you are going to see this is the new set. This is where the majority of the shows will be done. I am no longer going to be using just the single shot webcam version where it's just a close-up of me and my face. Another thing that you'll be seeing new here in this season is you're going to have multiple camera shots. Instead of just one camera focused on me, you're going to have the ability to, or I'm going to have the ability to have multiple camera angles in with all of this. So I'm going to try to experiment a little bit with that during this show. At least that is what I'm going to try to do now. But hopefully, as this goes on, I'll be able to get these camera angles down a little bit better, and you'll be able to better enjoy a little bit more of visual entertainment rather than just a single shot and nothing else changes. So that's is new as far as studio stuff goes. Also, I hope to have a few more guests on the show this season than I did last season. Last season I did, I had a grand total of 2 guests on the show. I had one, what we called the after show after episode 3. We had a little live webcam interview, if you will, with someone. And then, of course, the very last show of season 1 was Mr. Tony Pratt, who is a very close friend of mine and a fellow paranormal investigator. So those are some of the new things that you're going to see this season of Parareality. Once again, the show is going to be back on the regular schedule. It's going to be every other Tuesday at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. And we're going to go for 3 months. So we're going to go July, August, and September for Season 3, which is a total of 6 shows, which is pretty much practically the same thing that I did for Season 1. So hopefully you will be able to get back on schedule with the show. One of the things also that we're going to have is a video of the show on the Parareality.com website. You'll be able to watch the show prior to the current show on the website. Hopefully I'll have some more videos to go along with everything that's going on there too. So you'll be able to find out about the show, a little bit about me. You'll be able to see some pictures of some evidence, paranormal evidence that myself and some fans of the show have taken, and you'll be able to watch videos from the previous episodes of Parareality. Now, with that being said, let's get right into talking about the science of investigating the paranormal. Is this something that is legitimate? Is this something that's ever going to be accepted by the traditional scientific community? Well, that is a very good question. I think with all of the advances in technology that we have these days, that you will eventually see this field a little bit more and more slowly accepted as a legitimate science. Now, paranormal investigation has come a long way from the days of 35mm cameras and reel-to-reel or tape recorders. Now we have so many things that it really enhances our ability to investigate the paranormal. And the science behind this is most of it was not developed for paranormal investigation, but it's been adapted to uh, come over into this field. So while we are, as paranormal investigators, we have a very limited number of tools that were specifically designed for paranormal investigation. We have the ability to take instruments from other areas of scientific research and incorporate them into our own field. And actually, it has worked very well for us over the course of the years. Like I said, it started out with 35 millimeter cameras and tape recorders. Some of them were the big tape recorders, like from the 80s where you stuck the tape in. And the others, as it developed, we eventually got down to the micro cassette recorders, and that's what I have used in the past, was the micro cassette recorders. Things have progressed a long way. Now we have the digital technology. When video cameras became very popular and affordable, the VHS cameras were big. Of course, they had to hold a whole VHS tape, and you could only hold, so much, an hour or two on the videotape, and you're constantly having to swap out the tape or whatever. Now we've got hard disk camcorders, hard drive camcorders, with some of them with, 80 or 100 gigs of memory on it. Now a lot of these are high definition, so you can get clearer pictures, better shots. They're smaller. A lot of them you can fit in a shirt pocket or the back pocket of your pants, and they hold a phenomenal amount of data. Just like I said, some of them are up to 80, 100 gigabytes or more. You've got the emergence of infrared technology, which is a step above the night shot capabilities that I believe Sony came out with their Handycams a few years ago. I still use a Sony Handycam that's on a mini DV tape. It still works great, and the image is on this is high def because it is mini DV. Things have progressed so much so quickly that it's almost hard as a paranormal investigator to keep up with the latest trends and technologies with everything that is happening. And of course, as things come out, they're a little bit more expensive, and you have to wait a little bit, most of us do, until we are able to afford them. And usually by the time we're able to afford them, the next thing has come along and it's really expensive, so we have to wait to get it. And it's almost, you run a chance of being just one step behind if you don't have an unlimited amount of resources, which most of us do not. I mean, thanks to reality television, I know there's a lot of groups out there these days that have their own television show, and they get funding, some sort of income generated from that show, even though they don't charge to do the actual investigations themselves, but they're still having money generated from the actual television show, revenue from advertisements and the like. So they have a little bit more of an income than, say, regular Joe Blow such as myself and you, than we have. So they're able to afford a little bit better equipment than most of your average paranormal investigators are able to afford. However, what I'm going to be talking about tonight is stuff that anybody can get. It's relatively inexpensive, and you can find usually at your local electronics store, such as Best Buy, for example. H.H. Gregg. I'm a loyal Best Buy customer myself. Or you can easily order these things offline. Probably the most powerful tool these days has become the digital recorder. These things are much smaller than the micro cassette recorders even were. very thin, easily transportable, and you can store hours upon hours of clear audio on these things, which the cassette recorders, even the micro cassette recorders, most of the time you could hear the squeaking of the wheels turning as you were trying to collect your evidence, and that was always something rough that we had as far as separating what is evidence from what is not. That's probably today the most powerful tool that a paranormal investigator has, because they're able to capture this electronic voice phenomena, or EVP. And what an EVP is, as I just said, electronic voice phenomena, it is basically the disembodied voices of spirits who have crossed over onto the other plane. Now, we're not able to hear these with our own ears. However, for some reason, the way that the electronic media is, we're able to capture these sounds oftentimes during paranormal investigations. And thanks to shows such as Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures, got Paranormal State, and the list can go on and on and on. Thanks to these shows and their success in gathering EVPs, that has really become like the main piece of evidence that people are relying on these days as proof of the paranormal. Now, is it something that is legitimately accepted by the paranormal community, or by the the scientific community? It is not. However, you cannot deny the validity of some of these EVPs. It is amazing at what you can play back and hear from a paranormal investigation. It is amazing. Now, obviously, the quality varies. Class A EVPs, which are the best that you can get, which are basically, you can hear like what I'm talking to you now. They're very rare, but they are some of the most coveted pieces of evidence that you can obtain. Most EVPs are probably what I would say is a Class C, maybe even a B, which is very, very whispery, kind of grainy, and most of the time it's very short. You get little short bursts of answers, usually yes, no, or 2 or 3 word sentences, or partial sentences. So you are able, while you're able to hear a lot of these EVPs, oftentimes you're not able to make out exactly what it is that they're saying. Now, I'm going to show you right here on the screen a couple of examples of digital recorders that people use for EVPs, and there's a plethora of digital recorders out there. As you can see, these are just a couple that you can choose from and to put in your arsenal of investigation tools, investigating equipment. Probably the most I was going to say the most powerful, maybe not the most powerful, but certainly the latest invention as far as the world of EVPs go would be the RT EVP device, which I'm also flashing up here on the screen for you to see. The RT EVP is actually, RT stands for real time. It is a real-time electronic voice phenomena gathering device. It's the size of a digital recorder. Basically, it is a digital recorder. You can not only record the EVPs, but you have the ability to plug in a headphone to the RT EVP device itself, and you can actually hear the EVP, the response, as it is being said to you. So, for example, you go into the room, you say, is there anyone here? If there is, can you please show me a sign? Can you knock 3 times, to show me that you're here? And you may hear a response of, here I am, or something of that nature. Instead of waiting the next day or several hours later to go back and hear that on your recorder, you can now actually have the ability to hear it as it is being said to you.
And once again, I'm going to flash this up on the screen really quickly so you can see it, is the RT EVP device.
Now those devices are, I don't have a price on those. It's over $100. So I think about $162 was one I saw for, but don't quote me on that. Uh, However, it is, if you have the money to sink into that, it is very much worth it to do to sink that money into something like that, to be able to hear and actually have a conversation with a disembodied spirit in real time. Another tool that is actually specifically been developed for the paranormal community would be the K2 meter, which that picks up on electric forces from disembodied spirits. That came to probably what is directly responsible for making that as popular as what it is. It would be thanks to Ghost Hunters, because as far as I know, that television show and that group was the first group that showed the use of that. And depending upon how many lights, it has very multicolored lights on it, and depending on how high the light meter goes up, how many lights light up on it, depending upon how strong of a response you get. And you're able to have a conversation with the spirit simply by them lighting up the lights on the K2 meter itself. Those are probably about $50 or $60. I've seen them for a little bit less, but about between $50 and $60 is usually the standard going rate for a K2 meter. And I'm flashing that up here on the screen for you guys to look at in case you've never seen a K2. If you haven't, I have no idea where you've been for the last couple of years. Also, probably a tool that we have adapted to our use that has become another very powerful tool in the world of paranormal investigation is a thermal imaging camera. Now these are rather expensive. These are like $1,500 and up. I have an example of just one here for you to look at and see kind of what they look like. These, like I said, are $1,500. We're using them a lot to gather thermal imaging of apparitions that may be trying to form. I think that there could be utilized a little bit differently. Most people are looking for heat signatures, and I think you should probably be looking more for cold signatures. Now, granted, I have never had the opportunity to use one of these devices, so maybe you should be looking for heat as a spirit manifests itself, but I would think that it would be a little bit more colder than everything else, because that's one of the things that we encounter a lot when there's a spirit trying to manifest itself, is a cold spot. So it seems to me like you should be looking for cold instead of heat. But, you know, like I said, I've never used one. But these things are expensive. They can be a great tool to help you with your evidence gathering. I've seen videos from thermal imaging devices that have captured some pretty amazing things. It's just astonishing at the stuff that they're able to capture. Another device, and this one was specifically, once again, developed for the world of paranormal investigation, is a MEL meter. Now this thing measures EMF, electromagnetic frequencies. It measures ambient temperature in the room, and it also has kind of like a K2 type device with it as well. It's kind of three instruments all developed into one. And like I said, a lot of times we will have cold spots as paranormal investigators appear in the room when we are investigating, which we believe is signs of a spirit that is beginning to manifest itself. Well, now you have this MEL meter that measures EMFs, electromagnetic fields, and as the electromagnetic field spikes, where this spirit is trying to manifest energy, sometimes it draws energy off of the batteries from the equipment that you have. As the EMF field spikes, as this thing is manifesting itself and the room gets colder, you have right there in real time temperature reading that the room, you can see it getting colder in front of you. You can see the EMF spikes going up and it's I have one of these. It's a great device. Once again, specifically developed for the world of paranormal investigation. Now, speaking of EMF meters, and by the way, here's an example of a Mel meter, and then I'm going to show you here in just a second an example of an EMF detector. An EMF detector is another very, very powerful tool for the paranormal investigator. Once again, this is one of those things that was not developed for paranormal investigating, but rather for other purposes. But it's something that we have taken over and kind of made one of the trademark instruments for any paranormal investigator is an EMF detector. Here's an example of a digital EMF detector. EMF detectors started off as a needle type device invented by a man named Dr. Gauss, and it was called a Gauss master or a Gauss meter, but I'm not going to get into that right now. Basically, what they do is they measure the electromagnetic frequencies of electronic devices such as televisions, computer equipment, stereo equipment, appliances such as microwaves, wiring behind walls such of that nature. One of the things that happens whenever someone gets a large feeling of uneasiness, the feeling of being watched, is that can be the result of high EMF fields that can be given off by these devices. So it's a tool that we can, as paranormal investigators, can use to rule out the paranormal or rule it in. So if you have a area that has a large electromagnetic field or EMF reading in it, probably, if that's a baseline in the room, that's probably going to be the result of some sort of power equipment from somewhere, such as exposed wiring or whatever. And before we run completely out of time, the very last thing that I want to talk about as far as tools for paranormal investigating would be the digital recorders, night vision cameras, DVR equipment like you would see monitoring a convenience store or something of that nature. These have become very, very popular, once again, thanks to shows like Ghost Hunters, and they come in, they can get as complex as you want them to be. You can get a single camera unit, such as something that's pictured here, or you can even get multiple camera units and hook up to your computer, or if you don't want to hook them up to your computer, they do sell standalone DVR devices that has its own built-in screen, and its stuff are recorded onto hard drive on the devices. The night vision, of course, is the key that you want to get, and once again, it records anything in the dark that you can see. And these have become another invaluable tool in the world of paranormal investigating. Not very scientific, but if you are able to catch something on film, then maybe you can have evidence of this being paranormal. So to recap, we have learned that the field of paranormal investigation, while it's not very scientific at all, doesn't have a lot of its own tools, but we have incorporated tools from other fields and made them part of our own. We do have some specific designed devices, such as the RT-EVP device, the K2 meter, just to name a couple, and the Mel meter, to throw that out there, that have been designed for paranormal investigating and have been valuable tools to us. But most of our stuff comes from stuff that we've cannibalized and made to fit our world of paranormal investigating. While we may not have a specific field of science as far as the paranormal is concerned, we are utilizing scientific methods, and hopefully one day the scientific community will more readily accept what we're doing as actual science. We do the best that we can. While there may not be formulas that we can utilize and absolutes in the world of the paranormal, we are using the best scientific equipment that we are able to at the time, and hopefully one day we will be accepted as a real field of science. So with that being said, I'm going to wind the show down. Appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. We'll be back again, or I will be back again in 2 weeks, same time, same channel, and we'll have another show for you. Everybody, hope that this program opens up your mind to the way that you see the world and produces a change in your thoughts and beliefs. And remember that reality is just a matter of perception. I'm Sandman, and I'll see you again in 2 weeks. Have a good evening, everybody.